I hated headphones for mixing. Now I have 6 sets, but what made me change my mind? So I got my mixing session up here for Easy by Jas, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my headphone collection, detail how each of these have challenged and solved everything I used to hate about headphones. That delay is sick. The drums have this great pattern. Take a listen to this. It just sounds good. I really enjoy that beat because it's staccato. It's to the point. And for me, it was about making little embellishments. And I'm going to show you the kick, how I embellish that, then the snare, how I embellish that. And in between each one, we'll talk about headphones. So first we'll start with the kick. So this kick, I wanted just something a little bit more rounder, especially in the lows and the subs, just to make it feel, you know, that sort of hit that hits you a little bit. So take a listen to this kick, raw, and then with the processing I did with the SSL channel strip. Hear that? It's rounder. It feels like you've went from a wooden beater, da, 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 to a woolly mallet. Boom, boom, boom. And for me, that was really important to complement what's going on in the beat. It is blended in very softly, -19, but just take a listen to this, and I might boost it up a little bit just so you can hear the effect more obviously. Now, I boosted that 10 decibels louder than what it is actually in the mix, but it's just adding that little bit of whoop to the kick, which is, in my opinion, beautiful. So these were the headphones that converted me, the LCD ones. I got these in 2020 because of reasons of not being able to get to the studio, just as something to spot check things in while I was home and where there were curfews, and then afterwards I could get out. But these converted me to loving headphones. Previously, headphones I'd had, didn't enjoy. Now I still keep these at home. I only brought them in the studio today to shoot this, but these stay on my dining table. So I get up in the morning, I start doing my emails. If I have to listen to something, these go straight on. I use these every day, and they're just great for spot checking things, doing vocal edits. These have come on the road with me now 3 times, once over to the States, and these are awesome in the plane. They're small, they wrap up, the cables are quick and easy to use. These are great headphones, and these were the ones which converted me to enjoying to just really enjoying working on headphones. And that's mainly due to the planar magnetic diaphragm and the design of it. The translation is just awesome. These are a real testament to good monitoring solution that is affordable, portable, and not too encompassing. It's you can drive them from your laptop headphone outs, and you can, like, the cables are easy enough to find and use. So A++ here. So back to the session, and the snare drum is the next bit. So I said the kick drum I want a little bit more beefy. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, did it really make much of a difference? To me, it did. Okay, to me, just a little bit more sub in that manner. I could have just EQ'd directly on the kick, but I like having it in parallel because then all I have is a fader to move, and I can just move the fader as loud or as soft as I want. So that's just how I roll. So to process the snare, and this is one pet peeve I have, it's just a common practice a lot of producers do, is they attenuate the fundamental of the snare because they're trying to get rid of mud. So whether that's a high pass filter or a big scoop in the low mids, that is where a lot of the weight, the fatness of the snare comes from. And you can see exactly where and how that's operating in a spectrum analyzer. And just take a listen and look at this. number one, that fundamental is actually pretty down low. It's like 150-ish. But then you notice that it's softer than the fundamental of the kick. So you've got a good beef from the kick, and it's making the snare feel a little bit weak. And what people's tendency to do is crank the snare in the top end to get more snap, but it never really balances out well. It never feels right. And that's because the energy from that snare comes from the fundamental, and that is that 150 hertz in this circumstance. You've got that low fundamental of the snare. And take a listen to this snare layer, what I've done here, and you'll hear exactly why I've boosted where I've boosted. I've boosted around that 150 hertz range to really crank the shit out of that fundamental in parallel. So take a listen to this. So you see that fundamental there, that 150, which it was lacking in the overall stereo drum bus, which I got provided. What I've done is I've just added it back into itself to blend in. So have a listen to this now. So it's very subtle, but for me, it's really important part of the drum sound is to make sure those fundamentals provide the energy, not just going to an EQ to crank the top end to get more snap, but getting the fundamental energy of the tones and the sounds which are being produced to really fill out and allow people to hear it and go, wow, that pops better. They won't know what the difference is, but they'll feel it, so to speak. So yeah. The next pair are Apple AirPod Pros. Now, the other day, the power went out at the studio and I went for a walk. And when I went for that walk, I actually perfectly summed up why these are such an important part of my workflow every day as a mixing and mastering engineer. All right, so power's down at the studio. I've just went for a walk to go grab a coffee, and this is my next set of headphones, the AirPod Pros. And this is what I listen to when I go to the gym in the morning, when I'm on a walk, when I'm doing anything leisurely at home, I'm just chilling. I'm listening to music on this because these are a premier reference. I'm not listening to my mixes on it as much as I'm listening to references and music I enjoy, because I just want to get a feel for what consumers are listening to on their systems. And 50 million pairs of this was sold in 2021. A lot of people listen to music on AirPods. This is probably the gold standard for consumer listening at the moment. They sound incredible, number one, and number two is a lot of people listen to music on this, and if you're mixing, you want to make sure your mixes sound fucking great. On top of that, I'm also using the AirPods because I've got an iPhone to play back some of my spatial audio mixes, my Dolby Atmos mixes in spatial audio. I create the file, the MOV file, and then export it to my phone, as in airdrop it to my phone, so I can listen to the 3D rendering, the spatial audio, so I can actually turn my head and hear where things are panned in. This is definitely one which I'm happy to have, and every day I'm listening to music on AirPods, so I know exactly what consumers are enjoying and how they're enjoying it and how mixes are coming out and mixed for consumer listening. So the next thing I'm going to show you is this delay I did on the lead vocals. It's pretty stereotypical for pop productions, but I'm just going to show you how I go about it. And there's some quirks to it which help my workflow pretty nicely. So I'll first mute the delay and just listen to the vocal.
Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way you held your pen.
There's space there. And if you're a pop mixer producer, space there means effects, delay, exciting. So what I've done is I choose to not add automation to the main lead vocal line. I cut the clip, throw it down, add fades, because it's just easy to manipulate this way. And what I've got is I've got Echo Boy here with the dual echo or ping pong echo, quarter notes. I actually really like the analog chorus style. It adds a little bit of thickness and weight to the delay. And then just a little bit of reverb just to splash over the top there. So take a listen to this delay now.
Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way you held your pen and smudged the writing backwards, ink all over the page.
It's subtle. It's nice. I like the effect. And then one thing I did do is I added an L1 limiter just to keep it gelled so you can hear that tail just ride out a little bit further. You can't tell me you've entered a mix, you've heard gaps, and you haven't wanted to put a delay because you'd be bloody lying. That's just one I really enjoyed doing. So what the heck? So this is what's next on the agenda, the Audeze MM500s. I've got two pairs, one which sits with me at the studio, another one which either sits with me in the car or at home if I actually need to get work done. The LCD ones are good, but I'm not doing sessions on them. I can do a session on a pair of MM500s. These are, I've got my cable here for the MM500s because they literally just sit at the desk all day, every day, and I love them. And why do I love them? Because literally, if I got these speakers, strapped them with a pair of tape to my ears, that's pretty much what I'm hearing. Now, these are a pair of headphones I can exclusively work on. I could get rid of all my other headphones and keep these and be as happy as Larry, whoever Larry is. But yeah, basically they translate super well. I can do a full session start to end on these and be exceptionally confident in that what I'm sending out is going to sound great. And again, this comes down to the planar magnetic technology. I find planar magnetic headphones, for me, win the race. Now, in terms of practicalities, 18 ohms of impedance. I can drive these from my laptop with plenty of room to just keep cranking and cranking, and they're fine. They work well. So yeah, that's my third pair I'm going to show you, and these genuinely make me pretty damn happy. Now we're on to one of my most favorite parts of when I'm working on a mix, and that is building out a vocal effect stack. I call it a vocal effect stack. It's something I adopted from Andrew Shep's way of working, where he's got a different wide processor, a different chorus processor, reverb, delay, and I've built it out into what is these channels here. So what this represents is a parallel processor, reverb, this reverb duplicate because I want a different reverb. The SP is space, when in fact it's just another delay. WD is wide, and it's a medium delay that sort of phases between the left and right. It's pretty short. You can see 32 and 58 milliseconds. CR is crusher, because we're going to crush shit up with it. And then the last one is Shine, SH, which is for the Aphex Vintage Exciter. Now, I don't use all of these all the time. For this one, I only chose to use a duplicate of the reverb, a bit of space, a bit of widening, and a bit of shine. And take a listen to how each of these processes sound as I introduce them to the lead vocal.
Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way. Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way. Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way. Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way. Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way. Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way. Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way. Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way.
Subtle little effects which build up on themselves to create this stack. Now, I'll show you a few specific things I did which I really like in this stack. So the first one is this preset I made from the song Snakehips All My Friends. It's a short delay. It's tonal because the delay taps are really short. They create lots of phasing between the reverb. So I'll just boost it really loud and you can hear exactly that sort of flangey reverb style.
Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way.
You hear that? And then obviously I've just dropped it down a lot, but it just adds this nice little texture, almost like this other voices just skittering in the background. The next one is the Aphex Vintage Exciter. This one I love. It is the Shine Master. This is shiny. When you don't want to boost or crank an EQ or introduce too much sibilance, a bit of this blends it in, does it beautifully. Now what I'll do is I'll crank it so you can definitely hear it, and then I'll take the signal in.
Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way. Oh, oh, I think I saw it in the way.
It's just that little bit of extra shine, you know, it's good. Now, brings me on to my next set of headphones, which I'm actually pretty excited to speak to you about, and that is these bad boys, the Slate VSX. Now, I was always super skeptical about these, going, oh, they're a gimmick. I did a whole video on it, which I think I gave a very fair, balanced critique of these and things I like, things I don't like about them. But ultimately, the reason why they're on this list is because these impressed me. I don't use these every day. I can't lie about that. These are not ones. These are not a pair that I am working on every day. But for the price point, okay, what the price point is much more affordable than the Odysseys, and B, for the technology. And by technology, I mean the software that accompanies these. I was impressed. As soon as I started using the Slate VSX rooms and going into them, I'm like, holy shit, this actually sounds like big studio room strapped to my ears. Now, why aren't I using these all the time? Well, there's a couple reasons. I don't like the idea of mastering through a pair of headphones that's applying so much DSP to the signal. That to me, I'm just skeptical about, and I don't want to be guessing, is this doing the right thing to the audio? I want to have a pure line of audio going out of my D to A converters into my headphones, unadulterated by additional processing. That's me personally. And the other thing is that I'm very used to my Odysseys. So it's very hard for me to make the move to something like this. That said, price and access, in terms of the technology you get to access for the price these come at, I think is pretty unrivaled, period. It's unrivaled. So that's really important. Now let's get back to the mix, because I got one new pair of headphones I'm excited to show you, because then something that have never been on my radar. So let's keep moving here. And staccato drums are really difficult to blend in a reverb that works with them, because what ends up happening is you have this smack, and then it always feels like the reverb is generated from another place, another space. It doesn't fit in with it. It's either too much or not enough. Being to boast, I think I got the reverb pretty spot on here. So I've got snare effects, drum effects. The tom I'm not going to bother about, because it's one every now and then, but mainly the drum effects, which is going out off this drum bus. Take a listen to this before and after, then I'll show you exactly what this reverb patch is doing. Let's open it up as well while we listen. Drums, there we are. Beautiful. I know exactly what it's doing. You should know. If you've been watching this video and paying attention, you should know exactly what sort of effects this is bringing to the table. So let's have a listen, man. You hear that? Do you hear that? That almost pulsing movement. Now, I said, if you have been watching this video, you should understand what this particular patch is doing. It's the same one I use on the vocals, the Snake Hips All My Friends one, where it's almost like a choral delay, phasey sort of thing. And the reason why this works is because everything around the drums sort of has that laid back, texturally moving sort of vibe to it, which is really important. And that's why it works on the drums. Take a listen to this as I crank it. Now listen to the whole mix with and without this reverb, and it ties everything together. It's like a beautiful carbonara sauce. You have a good carbonara sauce, all the pasta, beautiful. That's a really stupid analogy, but let's just play this again.
You held your pen and smudged the writing backwards, ink all over the page. And I think I feel it when we lay. We talk in circles about nothing, but
it spreads out the snare hits to out the sides, which is really nice. And I'm going to show you the last pair, because this is a really peculiar pair, which I got an email. So I got this email from the Ukraine, of all places, and this headphone maker said, hey, I make headphones. Do you want to check them out? And I didn't respond, because I'm like, I'm not really interested. Like, not in a rude way, but just like, I've got other shit going on. I get 100 emails every month, literally, from product developers, plugin people wanting to send me stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not at the moment, it's not really my thing. I'm not really too interested in looking at more and more gear and more stuff. I just like doing my thing and talking about it. But they followed up, and I go, well, you know what? Credit to anybody who follows up. If you ever want to get my attention, let's entertain this. Hey, I checked it out. You know, I'm more than happy to have a listen. He goes, it was obligation free. Let me get the pair of headphones. Obligation free, like you don't have to do a video on it if you don't want to, but you know, just let me know what you think. I actually still got to send an email out to the guy because he was really kind to get these out. These are a pair of Verum ones, which he hand makes all himself out of the Ukraine. So actually, I do owe him an email. I'll let you know that to let him know my thoughts. And these are a pair in my collection because they've stayed in the collection, and I still got to send him an email back because these are great listening headphones. Now, they're not as dear as the MM500s, and when I put them on, the main difference I heard was that everything sounded nice and open, which isn't a critique of the MM500s. I still love them for working because they're super transparent and I love them, but these were just pleasant to listen to. And how do I put this? I'm using these descriptors which aren't really that quantifiable, so this is more so for my leisure time listening. I'll put these on if I'm chilling, I'm doing a bit of work, and just want to have a nice listening experience. Now, could I mix on these and master on these? Yes, I could. The one thing that's sort of stopping me is the build quality is super rugged and awesome. However, I don't have a case to run around with these in. I know, a stupid excuse. The MM500s have those hard shell cases. I throw the headphones in there. I've got kids, so I take them and pick them up from daycare. So when I have to throw the bags in the car, those in that case can get knocked around. These cannot. So that's why my MM500s, I've got one pair at the studio, I've got one pair at home, but I leave, like this morning, the MM500s, they've been sitting in the back of my car for the past 2 weeks, getting knocked around, and they're perfectly fine. I don't feel too comfortable doing that with these. I could get a case, but the matter of the fact is, these are just a fun listening pair for me, which I really enjoy. Now, how does this relate to mixing and mastering? I think they're a viable option. I think if you're not running around and you're in your apartment, you're at home, in your study, or you're just wanting to get some work done on a good set of headphones, these are a perfect candidate. With the caveat that you're not going to be running around with them, throwing them in the back of the car. I think that's a really good prerequisite for me, at least, when it comes to headphones, because I do go to other studios, I do visit other people. I do travel a little bit when it comes to work and also my private life in terms of having family holidays and stuff. The MM500s are awesome. You should see my car when I pack it. There's suitcases and bags and skateboards and shit, and these will not last on a family trip with 2 kids. So, as in terms of just kids kicking their feet and bags moving around. So, these are great headphones, and I might do a full review of it, but I definitely will send them an email with my thoughts on it because these are great. These are really good headphones, well built, pretty solid. And yeah, that brings me to the end of this video. Those are all my headphones at the moment, which I can gladly say I'm happy to listen to music on and mix on and master on. I could mix and master on these. I haven't because of the aforementioned reasons. Now, if you made it this far in the video, there's probably one rule which pros break when it comes to mixing, which I think you'd be pretty interested in hearing about. So if you are, check out this video here, and until next time, take care.